Imagine rushing to catch a bus on a busy Monday morning. The streets are bustling, and time is ticking faster than usual. That was exactly the scene for Sarah, a kind-hearted woman trying to get to work on time. She could already feel the stress building up as she squeezed through the crowd, hoping she wouldn't miss her ride. Just as she was about to board the bus, something unexpected caught her attention. An older man, standing near the front of the line, fumbling with his wallet. He looked anxious, clearly struggling to find enough money for the fare. Without thinking twice, Sarah stepped up. "Don't worry about it, I've got you," she said with a smile, handing the driver the fare for both of them. The man's face softened with relief and gratitude. He thanked her, a bit stunned by the gesture, and shuffled to his seat. Sarah didn't think much of it. To her, it was a small act of kindness, the kind of thing anyone would do. She quickly found her own seat and focused back on her day, already mentally running through the tasks waiting for her at work. Little did she know, this small, seemingly insignificant moment was about to set off a chain of events she never could have expected. The rest of Sarah's week unfolded like any other. Meetings, deadlines, and the usual routine. Life moved on, and the man from the bus had all but faded from her memory. That is, until the following Monday arrived. Sarah walked into the office, like she always did, ready for another day. But this time, something was different. As soon as she sat down at her desk, she noticed an envelope. It wasn't from a colleague, and it certainly didn't look like the usual stack of paperwork. Her name was neatly written on the front, with no return address. Curious, Sarah opened it. Inside was a handwritten note. The words were simple, but the message left her speechless. "Thank you for your kindness. This is for you." Tucked inside the envelope was something even more surprising. An unexpected gift that left Sarah in shock. She could hardly believe what she was seeing. How was this connected to the stranger she had helped just days before? What she didn't realize was that her simple gesture of kindness had a ripple effect far beyond anything she could have imagined. The mystery of who sent the gift and why it was so significant began to unfold. But Sarah had no idea how deep this story would go. As she sat there, holding the note and the gift in her hand, Sarah's mind raced with questions. Who could have sent this? And more importantly, why? What connection did they have to her simple act on the bus? The more she thought about it, the stranger it seemed. Was it the man from the bus? Or was something else at play here? Stay tuned as we dive deeper into Sarah's story and discover how one small act of kindness can lead to life-changing events. What she uncovers next will leave you just as stunned as she was. As Sarah sat there, staring at the note and the unexpected gift, her mind couldn't stop racing. What could this mean? She didn't do anything extraordinary, just helped a man pay for his bus fare. It was a small act, something she thought anyone would have done. But this envelope, this gift, felt different. It wasn't just a "thank you" card or a token of appreciation. It felt more personal, almost as if there was a deeper connection to the stranger from the bus. But why? And how? Sarah couldn't focus at work that day. Her mind kept drifting back to the moment on the bus, trying to remember every detail about the man. He was older, in his late 50s maybe, with tired eyes and a worn-out coat. He didn't stand out in any particular way, just someone who seemed down on his luck that morning. There was nothing about him that suggested he could send a gift like this. But what if she was wrong? What if there was more to him than met the eye? Her curiosity got the best of her. By lunchtime, Sarah found herself walking the same path she had taken last week to the bus stop, almost as if retracing her steps would help her make sense of it all. As she stood at the bus stop, waiting. She couldn't help but wonder if she'd see him again. Maybe he'd explain everything, clear up the mystery that was now consuming her thoughts. But the minutes passed, and there was no sign of him. The following days became a blur of questions and confusion. Sarah asked her colleagues if anyone had seen who left the envelope, but no one seemed to know anything about it. She even went as far as asking the receptionist at work, hoping maybe someone had left a clue, but every answer led to more dead ends. The more she tried to figure it out, the more mysterious it became. It felt like the world was playing a strange game with her. Then, something else happened that made things even stranger. That Friday, as Sarah was leaving work, she noticed someone standing near her car in the parking lot. It was a woman, probably in her 30s, with a professional look about her. Sarah hesitated for a moment, unsure if she should approach, but the woman waved her over as if she'd been waiting for her all along. "Sarah?" the woman asked, her tone calm but firm. "Yes," Sarah replied cautiously. "Can I help you?" The woman smiled softly. "I believe you already have. My name is Emily. I'm connected to the man you helped on the bus last week." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. This was it. Finally, some answers. "You know him?" she asked, her voice laced with curiosity. Emily nodded. "Yes, that man is my father." For a moment, the world seemed to stand still. Sarah didn't know what to say. She had never expected this random act of kindness to lead to something so personal, let alone a face-to-face encounter with someone connected to the man she'd helped. But there was something in Emily's eyes, a mix of gratitude and sadness, that told Sarah there was more to this story than she realized. My father. "He's been going through a really tough time lately," Emily began, her voice softening. "He lost his job a while back, and ever since then, things have been hard. That day on the bus, he didn't have enough money to get to an interview he had lined up. He was embarrassed, desperate. But you stepped in, and you didn't make him feel small. You helped him without hesitation. That meant everything to him." Sarah felt her chest tighten. She hadn't thought much about that moment. It was just an instinct, something she didn't think twice about. But hearing Emily's words now, it all started to make sense. "I didn't realize," Sarah said, her voice quiet. Emily continued. "That interview, he got the job. It wasn't just any job. It's a role that's given him a second chance. And because of you, he didn't miss it. He's been wanting to thank you ever since, but he's not great with words, so he sent the gift." Sarah was stunned. "I don't even know what to say. It was such a small thing." But to him, it wasn't small, Emily interrupted. "It was everything. You gave him hope when he needed it most." The air between them hung heavy with emotion. Sarah could feel the weight of Emily's words, the depth of the impact her one act of kindness had on this man's life. But something still didn't sit right with her. The gift. It felt too much. What could have possibly been inside that envelope that matched the enormity of the gratitude Emily was describing? Before she could ask, Emily shifted on her feet, her expression becoming more serious. "There's something else," she said quietly. "My father doesn't know this part, but I wanted to tell you. That company he got the job at, I work there too. I'm actually one of the directors. And last week, when I heard about what happened, I couldn't shake this feeling that I needed to find you, to thank you properly." Sarah looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" Emily smiled, but there was a hint of nervousness behind it. "I want to offer you something, a position. I've seen how you work at your company. I know people who speak highly of you, and I believe we could use someone like you on our team." Sarah was speechless. This was beyond anything she could have imagined. One small act, one moment of kindness, had led her here. But there was still more to come, more layers to uncover. The offer was generous, life-changing even, but accepting it could mean stepping into a new world, one she wasn't sure she was ready for. As the sun began to set behind them, Sarah stood there, her mind buzzing with questions, torn between her old life and the unexpected opportunity that had just been handed to her. What should she do? How could she know if this was the right path? And that's when the real decision began. Sarah stood there, frozen in thought, trying to process everything Emily had just told her. The job offer sounded unreal, almost too good to be true. One small act of kindness had not only changed the life of the man she helped, but was now changing her own life in ways she never could have predicted. But with such a big opportunity in front of her, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of hesitation. Was this really happening because of that one moment? And was she ready for such a big change? Emily could see the confusion in Sarah's eyes. "I know this must be overwhelming," she said gently, "but I truly believe this is the right fit for you. We could use someone with your values, your heart. What you did for my father wasn't just about paying for a bus fare. It was about the kind of person you are. That's the kind of person we want working with us." Sarah appreciated the kind words, but deep down, she wasn't sure. She had a steady job, and while it wasn't perfect, it was familiar. Taking this leap felt risky. Even though the offer was tempting, there was so much to consider. Her career, her future, and how this decision would affect everything. But one thing Emily said kept echoing in her mind. "You gave him hope when he needed it most." In a way, Sarah realized this was an opportunity for her to embrace the same hope she had given to Emily's father. Maybe this was her chance to do something bigger, to make a real difference. After all, if one small act of kindness could change someone's life, what more could she accomplish in a new role that allowed her to help others on a greater scale? The tension inside Sarah built as she thought it over. She knew there was no turning back once she made her decision. After what felt like hours, she took a deep breath and looked Emily in the eye. "I'm honored by your offer," Sarah began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "And I think this might be exactly what I need right now." Emily's face lit up with a smile, clearly relieved and excited. "I'm so glad to hear that," she said warmly. "You won't regret it. This could be the start of something incredible." As the words sank in, Sarah felt a strange mix of excitement and nerves. She had made her choice, and now it was time to embrace whatever came next. The unknown was scary, but it was also filled with possibilities. The gift she had received wasn't just a token of appreciation, it was a new beginning. In the weeks that followed, Sarah transitioned into her new role at the company. At first, it felt surreal, like she was stepping into someone else's life. But as she settled into her position, she began to see just how much she could contribute. The work was challenging, but it was also deeply fulfilling. She found herself connecting with her new colleagues, many of whom had heard the story of her kindness toward Emily's father. It was as if that one moment on the bus had set off a ripple effect, reaching far beyond what she could have imagined. As for Emily's father, he continued to thrive in his new job, and Sarah would occasionally hear updates about how well he was doing. The bond between Sarah and Emily grew as well, as they worked closely together and developed a mutual respect for one another. Their connection, built on an act of kindness, had turned into something much more meaningful. In the end, Sarah learned a powerful lesson. Sometimes the smallest actions can lead to the biggest changes. She had always believed in the value of kindness, but now she had seen firsthand how one simple gesture could alter the course of multiple lives, including her own. The experience had taught her that opportunities often come when you least expect them, and that stepping out of your comfort zone can open doors you never knew were there. And so, as Sarah reflected on everything that had happened, she couldn't help but feel grateful. What started as an ordinary day on a bus had transformed her life in ways she never could have predicted. It was a reminder that kindness matters, that the connections we make with others can be profound, and that sometimes the best gifts are the ones we never see coming. In the end, it wasn't just about the bus fare or the job offer. It was about something much deeper, the power of human connection, and how a single moment of compassion can create a lasting impact.